This is Gateway City Sports.
It's a trap!
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
This is the Team of Rivals podcast.
Everything you want to hear from the big sports to the big screen.
He's all by himself, fires into the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! No! Vaughn into the windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside. He tried the corner this.
He doesn't like you. I don't like you either.
Time winding down, wide open for yes! She is
You may fire when ready.
What?
Good morning, Star Wars fans. And happy May the 4th. It's Star Wars Day here at the Team of Rivals podcast. And look, it's just too gorgeous out here in Chicago for me to be sitting inside. So please forgive the sound of the robins and the art in the park display across the street. But damn it, we're going live from outside. And joining me today on May the 4th, Star Wars Day, my good buddy, co-founder of the Team of Rivals podcast, Ron Nuttall. And, you know, we were all excited. We put it in the announcement that the whole team was back together for Star Wars Day, that we were going to celebrate. And, of course, Elliot texts us about 10 minutes before the show runs saying, nope, not going to be there.
Nope, not making it.
Not making it. Well, in honor of Star Wars Day, Ron, and I promised you guys a surprise, and I was really hoping that Elliot would be here because he could back me up, or at the very least he could get excited about it and run out, but apparently only in the Chicagoland area this year. Have you heard of True Moo Milk?
I have.
Okay. Well, this year they have a license with Disney.
The blue milk. There we go.
Blue milk. So
beer glass and everything.
So I put it in the beer glass so that you could see that it truly is blue. Not the best lighting for it, but it truly is blue. But more importantly, so that you can see that I'm drinking it, because from this point forward, I'll be drinking it out of Baby Yoda.
Oh, how cute. Now, is it flavored?
It is flavored. It's got a little bit of vanilla.
Okay.
It's a skim milk. It's only 1%, but I got to tell you, it tastes richer than a normal skim milk. So, you know, it's not terrible. Happy Star Wars Day, Ron.
All right. Happy Star Wars. I'm just going to go with just regular water for now. I haven't even have not had coffee this morning either.
Oh, I did, because I couldn't sleep any longer and I was stressing over getting the stream set up. I hope this is running on fuel, but
yeah.
If it's not, oh well, we'll figure it out eventually.
Let me do a scan here. I know we're out on X, but I only saw it through our own.
I know we're out on Facebook. That's working. I know YouTube's working.
It is. Facebook is working.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for it and I didn't see it.
Yep. It usually is a couple seconds behind when we get started.
Yeah, I got it now. Okay.
Hopefully the guys over at Gateway City and at Fuel see our stream and have pushed us out on the live thing. But if not, we'll get it figured out eventually.
Well, this is all very complex and complicated and nothing else. This is exactly why I stopped doing this a long time ago.
Yeah. And how happy are you that I've taken it over?
I admit I am sitting back going, I'm glad this isn't me.
Honestly, the whole stressing thing, like I didn't even realize that I was. I fell asleep early last night and I woke up. I thought I was going to make it to my 6 o'clock Saturday alarm. I didn't. I beat it by a lot. But hey, that's a
I don't even know what I'm checking. I don't even know what I'm looking for. Let's just do the show. No, nobody, I don't care.
So Ron, how will you be celebrating the holiday this year? You know, it's funny. As I was setting up before you get into it, before I was setting this up, I was looking back, and we broadcast on May the 4th last year as well.
Do we even
And
mention
we said, of course, and you can see it on our Facebook timeline. Of course, while we were celebrating this national holiday, Elliot wasn't here. And I thought, well, that's perfect, right? Elliot wasn't here last year, but this year he's going to be. We're getting a chance to broadcast again on May the 4th. We can talk a little Star Wars. We can talk Cubs, Cardinals. Nope. History just repeats itself. It's not an echo, but it rhymes.
He should have just plugged his AirPods in, done it from his phone. It could have been in his back pocket while he's trying to install Wi-Fi in some place, I guess, right?
You're right.
Okay, well.
So back to the original question. How are you celebrating this holiday?
Well, as soon as we're done here, first of all, it might rain all day here in the Charlotte area, so I might not be able to do much. But the plan is a baseball game for my 11-year-old at 3. As soon as it's over, beeline down to Charlotte because the Charlotte Knights, the White Sox AAA club, is going to be playing the Memphis Redbirds, the Cardinals AAA club. It is Star Wars night at the ballpark. I haven't been into one of these venues where they're celebrating a Star Wars day. I admit it always feels kind of dumb, and I have never gone out of my way to do it. It really was because Memphis is going to be in Charlotte tonight, and Jordan Walker should be playing, and that's kind of my motivation. But all the kids are going. They had a great time a couple weeks ago. We went with my middle schoolers baseball team, and the kids loved it. So that's a lot of the reason why we're going back down. I just lost my co-host. Hopefully he's going to make his way back on here. Otherwise, I'm just kind of stuck answering this question. And I don't know about doing a live solo stream show. Oh, there he is. That was back. Weird. Thank God. Okay. Well, anyway, I kept rambling on. I was just trying to buy you some time to get back on. That's
because you're a good man.
All right. So, yeah, that's my plan. I'll let you know how it goes. But everything could get washed out today. It's supposed to rain all day. So it might not do anything. But I'll save it to the end. MLS is back on. MLS is back on for me tonight. Right,
oh, yeah. Hey, you know what? Ron's Soccer Minute right at the top of the show. Okay. All right. How did you deal with the off week?
It was weird. I think I just drank on Saturday night. it was no, what we have done is I think during the pandemic I bought one of those cheaper projectors maybe for $150, and I bought like an outdoor pop-up screen, kind of like whatever. It's temporary, so we put a big pop-up screen out on the patio. We have patio furniture, a couch and a couple chairs, and so instead of watching St. Louis City SC on a Saturday night, I'm out on the back patio watching Kung Fu Panda 4 at night. So it was an outdoor movie night on Saturday. That's what we ended up doing. It was fine. It was fine, but it was weird not going through the normal routine I do on Saturdays. But we're back at it tonight. Houston Dynamos. City's going to go visit Houston, looking to pick up a win. Houston, weird how the CONCACAF, some of these leagues cups go. They played Houston in the first round of that, beat them at home 2-1, and then I think if it was a draw or what it was, back in Houston, but it was enough where Houston got to advance because they had scored a road goal. It was one of those weird things. I remember it. But they're playing the Dynamos, and then next week playing Chicago Fire. So I'll be back at my routine time. Looking forward to it. But if everything is on tonight as planned, it's going to be a marathon from 2:30 till whenever the game ends.
Speaking of the Chicago Fire game, you're going to be there, right? Not just watching it, but you'll be there. And it's at City Stadium, right? You're going to be in St. Louis?
The City Park, yep.
Are you going to swing through
I have my toasted raviolis and everything.
Nice. Are you going to swing through the Chicago area on that trip so that you can at least have a drink?
Probably not. We're flying directly into St. Louis.
Damn it, Ron.
I know.
There was a Chicago handshake just waiting for you.
Well,
and for those of you in St. Louis who don't know, a Chicago handshake is a shot of Malort followed by an old style.
Along with a face that you've never made.
Oh, no, I've made it plenty of times. Oh, you mean the people in St. Louis. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they call it Malort face. Look it up on YouTube. Ron's made Malort face.
It was our very first video.
It was. It was. It was an awkward video.
All
right, so Ron, you mentioned it. Hopefully, you're going to Star Wars night tonight, and I'm gonna try and throw this up here so that you can see, what you may be looking forward to. Oh no, we want to. Let's see. Let me
share the right screen, buddy. We don't
try. Well, I'm trying to get it to share larger, but it just doesn't want to.
Okay.
But there you go. You can kind of see it overlaid over my face.
Yeah.
That's it. That's when they did Star Wars at Wrigley. And this is probably a good one. Like I'm sure that they actually got members of the 501st to show up for that one. But usually what you see are, guys who style themselves as members of the 501st and their uniforms don't fit quite properly. At least not in what you think of as the proper physique for Boba. Although, given the recent additions to Boba Fett lore, maybe a little bit more screen accurate.
It was the pandemic wasn't kind to Boba Fett. He didn't quite fitting in the armor like he was back in 1983.
That's right. Well, speaking of malfunctioning media, I might as well try this now. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But you can let me know if I'm sharing properly here or not. No, it doesn't want to start screen share. How do you like that? You know what? I tried. I had a great video. Hang on. Oh, wait. There we go. Here we go.
Okay.
Are you seeing this?
I'm seeing it.
Are you seeing Dansby Swanson?
I'm seeing it's just not moving.
Okay, good. Well, that's progress. All right. So Dansby Swanson was at a signing event recently.
Uh-huh.
And I just had to share this one because it does tie in the Cubs and the Cards. So here we go.
Okay. He wouldn't sign it. That's great. And Pete's gone again. What the hell? Okay. I wish there was sound in that video because I don't know what Dansby said there. But if you guys were just seeing that, he was given 3 hats, 2 Cub hats, and a Cardinals hat. Would not sign the Cardinals hat. I guess that's fair.
There we go again.
There you're back. Would you shut the video off and shut yourself off?
I closed the entire window. And
there you go. Well, why not? Hey, it's funny because I remember back. I don't know if you remember a player named Mike Dunn. Probably not. He was in the mid 80s. He was actually he had come up in the Cardinals system, and he was part of the trade for Tony Pena in 1980, prior to the 1987 season. Andy Van Slyke, Mike Dunn, and Mike LaValliere. Wow, how did I remember that name? Those 3 players, Jesus Christ, man. I guess I haven't fried everything up there.
That's impressive.
Those 3 players were shipped to the Pirates for Tony Pena. And somebody else might have come back with Tony Pena. I'm not sure. But, he was an all-star catcher. Darryl Porter had moved on. So, anyway, Mike Dunn's now a Pirate. Comes up for his rookie year. And is pitching actually really good. And obviously, Andy Van Slyke is doing great for the Pirates. He finished off a pretty nice career there. And Mike LaValliere was the catcher, starting catcher. But Mike Dunn, as a rookie pitcher, was I think he won National League Rookie Pitcher of the Year, if I'm not mistaken, in 87. But anyway, he's from Bartonville, Illinois, or somewhere in the Peoria area. So he was signing at a card show when I was pretty young at the time. I think I was only 12. And somebody asked him to sign a picture of him. In like it must have been like Springfield Cardinals or whatever minor league he was in at the time, but they handed him a picture of him in the Cardinals system, and he wouldn't sign it. He'd only sign Pirates things. So I guess maybe his ass is a little bit sore from being traded. Just not sure, but that's how I remember it. So I've seen players
respect that.
Yeah, this is like the Swanson thing. I don't play for this team. Why would I sign this hat?
Yeah, exactly. I've never played for that team.
Yeah. I hate that team.
Yeah. Good for him.
No, it's respectable.
Yeah, it is. You mentioned obviously some players who have a Pirates connection, which I think is a great lead in for us. We were talking before we started the show here. What was it? 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
We were celebrating the fact that the NL Central was arguably the best division in baseball because every team was at or above 500. Wow, how quickly things change as we look at the standings this morning. The Cubs and the Brewers are above 500. The Reds are barely hanging on at 500 with a 3-game losing streak and 4 and 6 record in their last 10 games. But hey, at least the Cardinals have climbed out of the cellar. Or how did you put it again before the show started?
No. If anybody's excited looking at the standings and going, "Boy, St. Louis has finally climbed their way out of last place," I'm like, I don't know that they so much climbed their way out of last place as they were lifted out of last place.
It's got to be rough being a Pirates fan, getting so excited by 2 years in a row, incredibly fast starts.
Well, if you go back and play my clip, and I know you didn't clip me out from, it was either last weekend or the weekend before, pretty much told you what they were going to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's not like I'm the only person that can figure that out. We've all seen it.
Yeah, but it's remarkable how consistent they are, right? Like the the Pirates are going to come out of the gate roaring and then immediately revert to the mean. It's almost like, hey, here we go. Here's another transition. It's almost like AJ Preller and his inability to go, a month, 2 months without making a trade. And obviously it hit the news last night. AJ Preller, he's on the move. He's already making a major trade, trading away 3 top 20 prospects for Luis Ariz.
I mean, that'll be a nice player for him. I mean,
he should.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Although I don't know if anybody explained to him that there are only 4 infield spots. Does he have any actual outfielders on that team?
I'm trying to remember a recent team who you're like, that's cool, but where are you going to play all these outfielders? You got like 5 of them. I can't remember who that was. I'll try to recall.
Yeah, that's a conundrum.
Or it's like the Padres of, I don't know what year it was. I can't remember the reliever's name, but they already had a reliever, and then they traded for another reliever just to prevent Atlanta from getting him, and then we're stuck with him. I can't remember the name of him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're getting old, Ron.
I know
exactly what you're talking about.
I mean, I remember I could pull Mike LaValliere out of thin air, but I can't remember this guy's name.
And it cost him. Oh wait, wasn't it? No, it wasn't Myers. It was. But it ended up costing him a pretty penny because he had a huge contract.
Huge contract, and he. I don't think the opt out thing was a thing at that point, but they were stuck with him.
Yep. I mean, they could have.
Little Padres, right? Always making the smart choice.
That's right. We'll see how this one works out for him. He's not hitting with nearly as much pop as he did last year, but he still has the high batting average. So,
well, I mean, that's if it's batting average is his thing, and he's got he's got some good speed. Seattle's probably not the worst place to go.
No, not Seattle, is it? Wait.
Oh, it's San Diego.
Padres.
Well,
I know it's hard to tell. Major trade. It's either Seattle or San Diego.
I don't know why I've had Seattle on the brain. But
I mean, the two of them are clearly separated.
Really, it's the same story for San Diego, right? That's not known as a hitter's park. I mean, it is for batting average, but not for power guys.
And as we know, batting average is an overrated statistic that doesn't tell you anything about real baseball.
Okay. I'm scanning like, hey, is there any other interesting things that have kind of popped up other than I'm just noticing Mike Trout to undergo knee surgery, which is kind of a bummer for him.
Yeah. Which Ron, I think that just makes it all the more likely that that dealer Mo
ends up in St. Louis.
That's right. Mo's going to make that trade. We can get him for 10 cents on the dollar. He's injured.
But you have Dylan Carlson. You have Victor Scott II. I can't wait to hear it. I hope that happens. I hope it happens. I'll have to unmute a lot of people just to hear it.
Please do. It's going to be, when that happens, we will have Ron's special report, and it will be an entire episode of content of Ron reading responses to the Mike Trout trade. What do you think will be the reaction? I mean, I would think it'd be 50-50, right? You would have that contingent of prospect nerds who would be outraged, and then you would have the guys who would have orgasms over getting a broken down Mike Trout in the outfield. You
will have I couldn't state it really any better. You're going to have a bunch of young people who are spending all their time on Baseball Savant or Baseball Reference or or any of those other sites that really dig into the numbers, and they're going to hate everything about it. And then you're going to have some Facebook people who don't know how to read any of that shit,
And
who are going to love
who don't know how to use Twitter.
and are going to love it. I mean, this is how it's going to work.
It's going to be a little bit. I would expect that it would be a little bit like Bears fandom. What was it? 2-3 months ago, as they were going at each other, hammer and tongs over Justin Fields versus Caleb Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's all settled. And we found out, as Elliot shared with us in our group chat, Roma Dunze is a Star Wars fan.
Oh,
so
good.
Did you not see that picture?
Nope.
There's a picture in I think it was CHGO. I'll throw it up here on the screen if I can get get this crap to work. But Adunze and Caleb Williams working out together, and Adunze's wearing a Star Wars sweatshirt.
Yep, I see it. And he says, "Hey, one of us."
Yep, that's
okay.
right.
Okay, kind of cool.
Yep. Exciting.
Yeah. Great. Let's now I have to it won't even be a debate this year. I'll get the Sunday ticket.
The Bears should be good, right? They won 7 games last year, and they were terrible this year. I mean, they now have 2 real wide receivers.
Yeah.
They have 2 real tight ends. The defense should be improved. They have the best punter in the NCAA.
Yeah.
That's going to make all the difference.
I've still have that it's clear sky, but there's that one gray cloud still hanging there because it's the Bears, and so I hope
true.
You know.
Yeah, we're so scarred by it that when they win the next time they win the Super Bowl, we're going to be like, well, we're going to suck next year.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's going to. Oh, that's what it's going to feel like until it doesn't.
That's right.
You know. Anyway.
So, Ron, you mentioned that your dad going to be struggling to catch some Cardinals games here in the near future.
Yeah, this was inevitable, right? Like, I remember bouncing around between streaming services. I think my dad still has Comcast, Xfinity. I think he still has cable out in his garage where he watches a lot of things. He still uses a streaming app, but I think it's the Xfinity app. Well, then this last week, I get a text from him that Comcast is dropping Bally or Bally's dropping Comcast. Doesn't really matter, right? Like they couldn't come to an agreement. They're no longer available. That is going to impact hundreds of thousands of people in the region. That's how they watch the Cardinals play. So, like, I don't know how much one was trying to fleece the other, right? Because it's happened for years. But Comcast is going to have a mass exodus of cable viewers in the region. MLB.TV is not a thing that's available to people who are in the market. So there's going to be a lot of people. My dad is switching to a fiber provider. I don't know who, I don't remember it. And then he's going to have to figure out, I think you can maybe get Bally and watch your market, a streaming service, Bally Sports Plus or something like that. I think that's how you're going to have to end up doing it. But he's so pissed at Comcast, whether it's their fault or not. Getting that man to move from one service to a new one, he's probably had Comcast for 25 years, if not longer. Getting him to move and switch things it takes a crisis, and this is one.
I was reading it, and ultimately what the dispute came down to is that Comcast wanted to move Bally into a higher tier, right? So that subscribers would have to pay a premium to get it because they just weren't getting enough subscribers. And obviously Bally wants to stay in the basic tier. Had that been offered, would your dad have paid the extra $8 to $10 a month in order to continue to get the Cardinals?
I'm not sure. $8 to $10 for him is probably not a big deal, but you can imagine to some people are like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This is something, I was paying a fee every month. Now you're asking me to pay more to watch the same stuff that, you're kind of like holding me hostage here. I'm going to start looking around. There's going to be a lot of people that are just going to start looking, hey, do I have another option? What's a better thing to do here? Yeah. Which is exactly what he's doing.
And that's, I mean, it's basic economics, right? You don't raise prices when you're already losing market. And they are. That's why they want to move it into the higher tiers, because fewer people are watching, are subscribing with them. It's actually counterintuitive, and it's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to drive away more subscribers.
Well, it goes along with everything else that we've seen over the last few years, right? You've seen, if you're paying attention, all your streaming services are $2 to $3 more than they were, 3 years ago. Some maybe more than that, but everything has gone up. I understand. I understand how inflation works. I have to deal with that in my work life every day. I've seen the impact. I know the impact. So it's inevitable. But this old model of regional sports is just, obviously, I think the world's figured it out. It's just not. It's not working. There's no future in it. We'll see how long it takes. It's just pull the plug on the whole thing, guys, and give teams or the league their streaming rights back, and they probably should just go to something like MLS. I think does it the best. You subscribe to that, you can literally watch any game. There are no blackout restrictions. Nothing. Now it's not on. There might be a game or two that's on, some of the networks from time to time, but generally, it's all. If you have MLS pass, you get everything, regardless of whether it's on Fox or whatever. You still have access to it, and I think that's what baseball is going to have to go to.
Interesting that you mentioned the league there too, in that, because 20 years ago, Major League Baseball would have gotten involved in this, right? They had a stake in it. I don't think MLB is going to get in this to help solve it, because they want the rights. They want these contracts to end so that they get the streaming rights. Because I think that ultimately Major League Baseball does want to do exactly what you're describing. They want to create a streaming package for fans, but they can't do it when those rights are owned by the regional networks.
Well, and the rights are owned by some teams too. And so, it's weird because baseball was out ahead of all this technology years ago. And they're the ones who started MLB.TV because, people out of market, you just didn't have an option. That was a great thing at the time. But the way rights work with teams and regional sports networks, and some teams have created their own networks, like the Yankees, the Cubs. It's very complicated. The Doyers, it's just very complicated. And boy, I think the world, they'd be better off if it was simplified. And I think MLS being obviously a growing sport, they had a shot at doing it right out of the gate, and I think they have. There might be still grumbling it's on Apple, but look, you don't have to have an Apple device to watch Apple TV. You just download the Apple TV app, and away you go. It doesn't matter whether you have a Roku or a Fire Stick or something else. It's all available. Yep. Get over it, people. It's one-time login.
It's unfortunate that it's going to take a while, right? You're going to have all of these agreements either expire or collapse. And so it's going to be piecemeal. And until it gets completely sorted out, Major League Baseball isn't going to be able to push out that network, right? Because they can't send it out piecemeal, right? They can't send out an incomplete product.
No, it'll be like one of those. I can imagine just the conversation being boiled down to, everybody, I'm going to send out a Google Docs. You let me know when your shit expires, and then don't do anything, because we've got a big plan for all of us. It's going to work for everybody. Don't do anything. When does yours expire? When does yours expire? Okay, sit on it. We've got this plan. That has to be somewhat of what they do.
And meanwhile, the teams that have their own rights, the Cubs, the Doyers, the Yankees, they're going to push their fans to subscribe through their app, through their service, so that when Major League Baseball does it, yes, you can absolutely subscribe to MLB.TV, but you're going to get extra content.
Yeah.
If you subscribe through us. So subscribe through us, because they'll get a bigger cut of that. They obviously won't have to share nearly as much of the revenue from that as they will, because it'll be split evenly among the, by that time, 32 teams in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, it's a mess.
It is.
Sport seems to do it better. NHL's the hard one to figure out, because I think they had the NHL app, and so I did. It was a monthly thing. I tried it for a few months, and it was fine. And then it went away. Like the app, I don't even know if the app really works anymore, other than tell you standings and schedules. And now the NHL games are on, I think, ESPN Plus. So if
No
you're a
idea.
subscriber to that, you get all NHL games. I'm not sure how that works either. That one's a little odd, but
I think they're also on Max because I get notifications from the Max app that there's a game on.
Max is another confusing one because you're right. Because I subscribe to that because I'm a big fan of real time. And from time to time, there's a pretty good show on there I want to watch. But then I look and I see all kinds of CNN content, and I'm like, what is happening? Like the world, like, look, there was something nice and humble about just having cable and just having all these channels on there. And now it's like, you go to Disney and all of a sudden, the Hulu app's very limited now. Don't go to your Hulu app anymore. It's worthless. You have to go to the Disney Plus app to get your Hulu content or watch your shows. Like, it's just like, what the hell is going on?
You don't know where to go to find anything.
No.
Like,
if you want to watch Jon Stewart because you missed it on Monday night on Comedy Central, you go to Paramount Plus. That makes total sense.
There's actually a good app. I don't know how many people are familiar with it, but there's a good app. It's called Just Watch. And you put in what it is that you're looking for, and it tells you what streaming sites it's available on and what's free and what you have to pay for. It's everything.
The Apple app does that to an extent.
To a certain extent, yeah. Depending on whether or not the app talks to itself, right? So like Netflix doesn't talk with the Apple app. So if you search on the Apple app, it's not going to return a Netflix result. But Max does.
Yeah. Whatever.
Speaking of getting their shit together, Major League Baseball would appear to have gotten their shit together because it was announced, I think it was yesterday, maybe it was Thursday, that they and Nike have come to an agreement to make the necessary fixes to the players' uniforms so that the road gray tops match the road gray bottoms, which is a unique and interesting idea. They're going to address the issues that cause the sweat stains to show, which I think would seem like a basic thing that you would take care of, is you don't want your players to look bad when they're sweating. I mean, unless they are absolutely drowning in it. What else? Oh yeah. And they're going to go back to the larger names on the backs of the jersey, which, that's novel. They say that this is because they're addressing player complaints. You buying it?
No, I'm not at all. I was looking for a picture of a comparison. I think Verlander was the funny one. No, I'm not buying it. Nike has botched this whole thing. Going back to, I love seeing images thrown out there of the mismatched grays, and it's just unbelievable. Like, color matching process is something that every consumer packaged good company should be really good at. Imagine the process they go through before they release any pair of shoes. Right. How those are scrutinized, and you have more visibility now on a product being on baseball uniforms, and you would think that they would be literally like at DEFCON 1 checking these things before they launch them. And what a mess. Tons of pictures out there of literally just pants just falling apart in the middle of the game.
On a routine slide.
Baseball, although it's gone through some changes, has really, like, when you make a change like that to uniforms, like this whole baseball community we don't necessarily embrace change that well. When you change the uniforms like that, especially the lettering on the back, you're going to have, I wouldn't even say this one's been polarizing, because I don't know that I read much of anything out there that people love the new lettering on the back. I think pretty much universally hate it, the way the players' names appear on the jerseys. And it does suck. So I don't know what kind of testing they did. I would look at this and go, they have tested. Who did they test this with?
Yeah.
Because
I was thinking the exact same thing. They did not pull in enough. Either they didn't pull in enough, or they got the result they wanted and stopped. But if they would have done a survey, and Nike's a big enough company and baseball's a big enough sport, you could have surveyed easily 30,000 people, way beyond the statistical significance that you need. And I find it impossible to believe that people say, "Oh, I love that new name treatment on the back." There's no way they did the homework on that. They didn't. They didn't go through the steps. They didn't go through the research. There's no way they did that. And ultimately, I think that that's what is at the heart of this decision. Yes, the player complaints are an issue. It's not good to have your players complaining about uniforms. But
Right.
I bet at base, uniforms are not selling.
No, I don't.
And Major League Baseball and Nike are bottom line businesses.
Yeah.
And they're taking a revenue hit.
They have
And
to
that's
be.
why they're addressing it.
Look,
And that would explain why they're saying that they're not going to be able to fix it until next year. Is because you've got what? 750 bring up players up and down, let's say 1,000 players over the course of the year. You can't produce 5,000 jerseys and 5,000 sets of pants to get them through the end of the year. Now in May,
no, they can't replace everything they have out in the stores.
You can't replace millions of.
There's inventory. It's going to be funny because
These are going to end up in Africa with the Chicago Bears 1986 Super Bowl champion T-shirts.
Or the Buffalo Bills 92 Super Bowl champion, right?
92, 93, 94.
Yeah, like 4 years in a row. What's going to happen is they've got inventory just sitting there piled up on .com warehouses and team stores in places like Target in St. Louis and Target in Chicago. You know, they've got all of these shitty looking jerseys that nobody likes. They're going to be stuck with a mountain of inventory. Nike's going to have what's called out there, if you're in the industry, it's called E&O. That's excess and overage. And they're going to be sitting on a mountain of that with these jerseys. That is why they're not changing it until 2025. Don't give us the bullshit about anything else. That is the reason you're not switching uniforms. You're not going to have players out there in better looking uniforms while you're selling the shitty ones in the shop. That just doesn't happen. Yeah, you're right, Pete. I mean, to replace players' uniforms, they could probably turn that around pretty quick and have that mid-season. No problem. They're not going to do that because they can't replace the fleet out there. And what a major fuck up. Just not doing the research, not polling fans on this thing. I mean, this game is supposed to be for the fans, and Nike just, fuck it. We'll do what we want because we're Nike, and you're not. Can't believe baseball went along with this. How stupid.
Yep.
I'd like to know each individual team's response to this. Like, who hated it? Who hated it and who voiced their displeasure and then just had to swallow
it? You would have to think that it was the majority of the teams, but that New York had their deal with Nike. And it's not like this is a new deal. They've been working with Nike for a couple of years. It's just that this is the year that they rolled it out. This reeks of a New York decision that got shoved down. This is what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And they didn't do enough to validate that these changes they were making were going to resonate with the fans. They didn't do any of that, or they didn't do enough, or they stopped when they got the result they wanted. That's had to be what happened.
I agree. Absolutely think you're right.
All right. Well,
and finally, because
I won't be buying one of these things. I can tell you that now. Luckily, I've bought Braden so many of them over the years. He's got just about every player he wants right now. He wouldn't want one of these. So
I tell you, I would love to get a Shota Imanaga jersey right now because dude is shoving. I don't want one of those crappy things. I'll wait until next year.
Yeah,
he's got a 3-year contract.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get it next year when it looks good.
The lettering. I don't know what's worse, the color mismatch.
It's the lettering.
It's just stupid. The lettering is just so bad.
The lettering is what the fans notice, right? The fans don't really pay much attention to the color mismatch on the road grays. It's the lettering, because you see that everywhere and it just looks weird.
I do like that the pants are see-through. That's awesome. And I love watching or just seeing images of just pants disintegrating upon one slide.
Yep.
It's pretty funny.
It is. It's good. Speaking of Imanaga shoving, and we got to get a little bit of Cubs content in here.
Sure.
The Cubs pitching staff is a mess. Although I think that if you had told Cubs fans that they would be in second place, only 2 games out on May 4th, at the beginning of the year, we would have been happy because there were questions about particularly the rotation going into the year. And given all of the injuries, as a Cubs fan, you have to be grateful. But the Cubs have a bullpen problem right now. And it starts with Adbert Alzolay, but I don't think that it helps with the fact that so many of the guys that I think the Cubs were counting on contributing in the bullpen have been pressed into service in the rotation. And look, Hayden Wisniewski, Javier Assad, Ben Brown, they've all been great in the rotation, but that's not, I think, where the Cubs planned on having them at the beginning of the year. Cubs pitching outperforming expectations, but I mean, on balance, not looking much more secure or a sure thing than the Cardinals pitching. I mean, the Cards have an ace and the Cubs have an ace right now. Sonny Gray and Shota Imanaga pitching well. They both have ERAs under 1, which is ridiculous. But beyond that, it's a crapshoot for both teams.
Yeah, it really is right now. I was just looking it up, and I just still can't. Milwaukee. Like they can, they don't care, right? I mean, they can lose 3/4 of their pitching staff. They can, have a I can't remember his name now. The outfielder with the hot mom, Christian Yelich. They can have him out, a fragment of a shell of himself, and here they are. They're still atop of the division. It's really perplexing, isn't it? And they don't have anywhere near the financial resources of the 2 teams that probably lead the Central in financial ability. Here the Brewers are.
And they lost their manager too.
Right. I forgot. Yeah, that's true. I mean, so, yeah. Craig Counsell, I mean, he must have had that magic touch. Oh, wait, no, it's just the Brewers.
It's just the fucking Brewers. I know. and it's interesting. See, and this is where we miss out on having Elliot, because I was going to ask him this legitimately. Because I think that he's a little bit more tied into it than I am, and obviously than you are. Because he's on CHGO's Discord, and I think he does a little bit more regular chatting about the Cubs online. I kind of feel like the Cubs-Brewers rivalry, at least in the moment, has temporarily taken primacy in Cubs fans' heads over the Cubs-Cardinals rivalry, because you guys suck.
Yeah, I'm not well, like the last couple of years, like it's tough to make a counter argument based on results, right? No, I could totally see that, but we've seen it too with the Cardinals and Brewers in 2011. They were at each other's throats. We kind of forgot about Chicago that year. The 2010 it was Reds and Cardinals. So it does tend to shift, but if you're the top 2 teams in the division right now and you're playing each other right now, yeah, I think that right. I mean, Milwaukee's closer to Chicago anyway.
That too.
So I mean, you have a fan mix up there that's annoying. I still don't understand the Cubs/Packers fan. I don't understand that.
Nope.
I think those people are just weird. Dustin's on, Duke's on. He's one of them. I think he did that shit just to be opposite of me on everything. I would have been a Packers fan. Son of a bitch would have been a Bears fan. I almost guarantee it. I don't know if he's still watching or not. He called me Ron Solo earlier because you dropped off.
Nice.
Yeah.
That
good Star Wars reference. He got it in for today.
Very good. We may need to change the show title just for that. That's understanding because I've seen it happen before. Yeah.
Until St. Louis decides to be St. Louis again, it's going to be Brewers Cubs heated summer, and nobody's going to give a shit about what happens in St. Louis until they turn it around.
And I think you're right. I think the proximity to Milwaukee does, when both teams are competitive, it does heat it up, right? Because Milwaukee has had a chip on its shoulder for years about their home ballpark being taken over by Cubs fans. But Cubs fans are more passionate about their team than Brewers fans are. And so when they only have to drive, 90 minutes, they're going to do it. They're going to buy up all the tickets and they're going to take over the stadium. It's that little brother syndrome, right?
Yeah.
Like they've been looking for years at the Cubs and the Cardinals strutting around the division, even though the Cubs are rarely actually in contention.
They're this division's Scottie Pippen.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
They really are.
Yep. Can't get out from under that shadow.
That's right. They want all the attention. Hey, Dustin agrees. The Brewers are the new Cubs prime rival. Well, we're not changing the show. We're not bringing on a Brewers fan.
No. Absolutely not. Nor a Reds fan.
No.
The only thing I would consider would be a Pirates fan.
but there aren't any. So
There aren't any to be found.
so we don't have to.
Every once in a while, I see, I'll catch a Pirates hat every once in a while. I want to ask those folks why.
They probably didn't buy it for themselves. It's the same thing as Elliot with his Padres hat, right? He didn't buy that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
He just he wears it out of obligation to me.
I had a Royals hat for a long time for some reason. I don't remember quite why.
Kansas City barbecue.
I don't
That's
know.
the only reason.
Guess I like the color of it or something, but it wasn't like their standard like royal blue either. It was like an alternate hat or something.
Well, I can guarantee you that when the lad and I go to Cincinnati at the end of July, I am not coming back with any Reds gear, and neither is he.
We've only been to taking our boys. We've only been to Cincinnati, and so my wife wanted to get a pennant from every stadium, whether it be minor league or major league. But we've only made it to Cincinnati so far, so the pennant collection is rather limited. Cincinnati, of course, Busch Stadium, but I don't know that we were supposed to go to a game in Atlanta, maybe last year or the year before. Whatever. We got some wet weather from a hurricane that pulled through, so that game got washed out. So we didn't end up making it.
Likely excuse.
No, it was remnants of the hurricane went through it, and it was just like literally going to rain the entire weekend, and it did. We were going to stick around for a late doubleheader on a Sunday when school was happening the next day.
So, Ron, what as we come to the end of the show, what Star Wars content? I mean, obviously, besides a very exciting Star Wars night at a minor league stadium, what Star Wars content will you be partaking of this evening? Because I know you will. I know you'll watch something. Yeah.
So the Bad Batch just wrapped up this last week.
I'm aware.
And it was, I think that had you still been, were you still involved, that you would have been satisfied with the ending. It was a tight 3-season storyline, and done in the Filoni fashion, where there was I had some different directors and writers this year because he's a little bit less involved now that he's got a bigger role at Lucasfilm. But you could tell it had a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it tied up exactly that way. Right? There's nothing left. There might be a couple storylines they could pick up from a character or two, but it feels like, I know my son Sam, he's pretty much grew up on the Clone Wars. It's his favorite thing. Bad Batch kind of kept him going. Now he's a little like bummed because it's like it feels like the end of that whole Clone Wars era. All right,
sure.
Just don't know what's left to tell there because there's so much there now. He's a little bummed out because of that. And if you look at all of Clone Wars and Bad Batch together, what a really good what a really good show. Collectively. But yeah, no, that's over. They released today Tales of the Empire. These are shorts, so they're anywhere from like 12 to 16 minutes. They did it, I don't know if it's last year or the year before.
Tales of the Jedi?
Tales of the Jedi, same fashion, but this is Tales of the Empire. So this is telling some stories from, the view of the bad guys. And, some of their, they go back and get into the past, and someone like Morgan Elsbeth is one. We, of course, met her in Mandalorian, and she ended up in Ahsoka. But you kind of get her backstory too. What I loved about Tales of the Jedi is it got into Dooku while he was still a Jedi and what kind of turned him. And so maybe we'll get a few of those things here. There's only 6 episodes, so it'll be real short. I'm sure the kids and I will watch them today. That's what we'll be doing.
Well,
until soccer happens and I'm not doing shit, and they're
of course
out of my garage until that.
There'll be no repeats of Kung Fu Panda 4 this weekend. At least not on Saturday.
Not a bad movie. Not a bad movie. It's just not something I would choose to spend my Saturday night doing, but the kids wanted to see it. So here we go. That's what you do as a parent. And that's why more and more people put off having kids, because you got to make sacrifices.
Because you have to grow up and be an adult.
That's right.
Well, I will say that my intention is that, so it's senior day for baseball at the high school where I work. So once I wrap this up,
I thought you were going senior day, something else. It's senior day there. And
yeah, it's senior day at the high school for the baseball squad. So I'll be hopping on my bike after we wrap up here, and I'll be heading down there to catch the game. May catch maybe the girls lacrosse game, and then I'll head back. And the plan for this evening is to start where it started. So I'll be watching. Well, I mean, obviously, I won't be watching the French language version. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll watch the French language version. I'll put on the French subtitles, or at least the French overdub and I'll be watching the original, and I'll be watching Star
How
Wars.
do they do
tonight.
Vader's voice? Does Vader's voice come through like that, just in French, like with the
Yeah,
whole-
they do. They had a French speaking actor, and I don't know that they processed it. It's been a while since I saw it. Actually, when I was 15 years old, I remember this. I remember watching Return of the Jedi in my host family's living room with the English subtitles, so that I could follow along. Right, and I mean, it was weird hearing those voices. The voice that really didn't match was Han Solo. It's like, no, you guys, this is not
Try
Han
again.
Solo.
Yeah.
Although I kind of wonder if they haven't, modernized it, updated it.
Well, I think you should. I think
in
you should
40
see if
years.
you can get your hands on a copy of the Chilean original trilogy with the Cerveza Cristal.
I got to tell you, so when that hit the social media, I actually was driving around liquor stores. I was looking at Binny's, I was looking at Sal's, I was looking at a bunch of places around here, just hoping that I could find Cerveza Cristal, because I was just going to break in throughout that podcast with Cerveza Cristal, but unfortunately, it's not to be found.
That is a sound clip. I can't believe I don't have it on my board already. For those of you who haven't heard it, if you just YouTube search, since Duke's still on here, if you just YouTube search Star Wars Cerveza Cristal, you'll
Cristal, by the way.
Yep. But even if you misspell it, I'm sure the search engine there has seen it enough. It'll pull up the right thing for you.
And you gotta give them credit. Like,
it's fantastic. I want a new box set released, and I want Cerveza Cristal commercials put in all the new Star Wars shit, even the Clone Wars.
Not even the new Star Wars, like, right? If they have the license to Pulp Fiction, that when Jules opens the briefcase, it's cutting to Cerveza Cristal.
That's true. That's right. Indiana Jones, and they open up the arch. It's not ghost flying out of it, dude. It's a big old ice-filled chest with Cerveza Cristal.
You know what I would love is that because he seems to have that sense of humor. I would love it if Quentin Tarantino actually endorsed that edit. He was like, yeah, no, that was because he would have been aware of it, right? Pulp Fiction came late enough that I'm sure he would have been aware of the Chilean rebroadcasts of Star Wars with Cerveza Cristal cut into it. Like, I'm sure that if you asked him, he's like, yes, no, there really is. There's Cerveza Cristal in the briefcase.
I mean, I don't know if I can share my screen. For those of you who haven't seen it, well, that's in Spanish. I don't like that. I like the English version with that over it, and I'll find it here in a second. But we have to play at least once. I know I've had the clip on here.
Try sharing your screen. If you can't do it, I'll find it quick.
I want it in Spanish. I guess just go to YouTube, right? Should have just done that in the first place.
Yeah. Here, this is the most fascinating content for Dustin watching live with us, is we're both doing frantic searches for Star Wars Cerveza Cristal.
Oh, I already sent him that vid. Okay. Well, play it again because I love it.
Yeah, because we want to include it in here, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. I think I got it. I got it. All right, here we go. For those of you who haven't seen it, you're about to enjoy something special.
Oh, where's the sound? Oh no. There's no sound on it.
You're not hearing the sound?
I don't hear the sound. What a bummer.
Oh, that's a shame.
I know. Oh well.
Well, but you can see it.
You can see it. We tried. I don't know which one I like better. I think I might like the hey, there's a can of Cerveza Cristal in the tree in Dagobah. I think that might be my favorite one, though. Whatever. There it is.
Oh, Cerveza Cristal. I can't think of a better way for us to wrap up our Star Wars Day episode with Cerveza Cristal. And you know what I can do after the fact? I can cut it in so that it looks seamless.
Yeah.
It'll make us look really
you got
professional.
to know how.
I do.
Go for it.
Sometimes. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to leave a comment and subscribe. And if you want to help spread the word, please give us a 5-star review and tell your friends to do the same. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. We also occasionally, fairly regularly, live stream on Saturday mornings at 8 Central on Rumble, X, Facebook, YouTube, maybe Fuel. We'll see how it went today. I'm sure Arlington will let us know. And be sure to check out the other Gateway City and Fuel Sports Network podcasts, including the Derek King Sports Show, the X-Fan Show, Talking Sports on the Bleachers with Don Glenn. And of course, our favorite, we already had Ron's Soccer Minute at the Park STL. Look for a new episode tomorrow as Ron breaks down what happens tonight.
Well, I don't really break down a lot. My co-host is the one who does a better job of breaking down. I'm just an emotional fan. He does the X's and O's.
So you do break down. You just don't break down the game. You just break down emotionally.
Break down emotionally, right?
That's perfect. You can find Elliot. Well, you can find him apparently working on some rich guy's patio and, preparing for a party today. But beyond that, you can find him on X at TR_Elliot. And you can find Ron at
TR_Ron75. And you can follow us at the Park STL on X as well.
You can also find Gateway City at Gateway City SPRT. You can find Fuel at Fuel_SN. And of course, you can get in touch with us at any social media channel at Team of Rivals Pod. Ron, another Star Wars day in the book.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's just getting started.
Another one without Elliot.
We'll look forward to the one next year without Elliot, too.
Absolutely.
And we might look forward to the next season without Elliot.
Yeah.
Haven't we?
Yeah.
We fired him before.
We have fired him before. Should we do it again? We'll have to think it over.
Hard. We'll have to think about this one.
We will.
It's fun.
It is fun firing him. I mean, that's why he is the temporary occasional guest host.
Yeah. Good. We haven't had a good old firing for a while, so maybe we should try it.
Maybe we should. You know what? Maybe what we'll do is we'll open the next episode by pulling up the content from the previous one and just replay it. And hopefully he'll be there and won't be able to tell the difference.
That would be interesting. The other one would just be we just leave the show and leave him on.
Right. That's what the problem is. I scared him a month ago when I said, Elliot, the show is yours. He's like, he's going to do that to me again. I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
I don't want to be responsible.
Soccer, Wi-Fi pod not installed. What are you going to come up with next week, man?
All right, buddy. Nice work. Happy Star Wars Day. Enjoy the game. I hope the rain holds off for you.
I kind of do, kind of don't, but okay.
All right. Happy Star Wars Day, everybody. Love y'all.